Flynn.
Okay, a couple of things before we get started. Today, most people probably don't know, but it's MIA POW Recognition Day. And what I'd like to do is just take a brief moment of silence to recognize our prisoners of war and those that are missing in action and continue to be missing in action in many cases around the world. Thank you. Thank you. And a big round of applause for our POWs and MIAs. I'm going to address a couple of things before I introduce Donald Trump, who's then going to come out and make some remarks, and we're going to have some of the speakers behind me, some of the individuals, some of the heroes behind me make some comments about what it is that they believe and the direction that this country needs to take under some really solid leadership. The first thing I want to address is this notion of deplorables. And I will tell you, if it's a badge of honor to wear, and I don't consider myself a deplorable person, but if it's a badge of honor to wear, when you think about the individuals who ran out to Lexington Common and formed up against the British to really begin to to fight for American patriotism, to fight for something that they believed in, or as they trailed back to the North Bridge, and you're all familiar with the shot heard around the world, which is where that shot came from, and they fought back an aggressor at that time. And you take that all the way forward to all the men and women who have served and continue to serve in our combat zones around the world today. These are not deplorable individuals. These are individuals who care deeply for our country, and I will tell you, we should continue to respect the idea of patriots and people who are willing to volunteer and give the last true measure of devotion to this country if required in order to fight for it. And what we have right now in this country is we have a deficit. We have a deficit of leadership in this country right now. It's a staggering deficit of leadership. Hillary Clinton, she is unfit to be President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief. People talk about temperament. Well, I'm going to tell you, I've known Donald Trump for a while now, and temperament is actually a strength of his because his temperament is the temperament of winning. It's the idea of winning. If there was a temperament problem, for anybody who watched the Commander-in-Chief's town hall a week or so ago, now you saw the temperament rise up in Hillary Clinton. And you saw her when she stood up on the stage there to argue with the individual, the great, I believe the gentleman that asked the question was out of the Navy, or a Navy veteran. Tough question, and she lost her temper. She lost her temper, and that's something that I think we have to pay very close attention to. We cannot have that kind of judgment in the White House. Okay, a couple of things before I bring Donald Trump out here. What's represented behind me, and you've seen all these numbers of flag officers, generals, and admirals. Today we sort of rolling out another batch, and their numbers continue to come in. I'm going to tell you that we have 165 flag officers from all walks of life that have stepped up to say we completely support Donald Trump to be the next President of the United States and to be the next Commander-in-Chief. And I will tell you, this is not out of frustration. This is out of determination and resolve to get our country back on track. That's what it's about. Represented behind me, we also have 17 Medal of Honor recipients who have also stood up and said, we support Donald Trump. Unbelievable. So for our military who continue to serve, who I deeply respect, I respect everything that they do. I know Donald Trump deeply respects everything that they do. Our veterans, we have to take much, much better care of our veterans. We have our families. Our families remain sort of that silent group out there who are struggling. I'm telling you, we've met with many military families for, over the last couple of weeks now, and particularly our Gold Star families, and I think we have a couple of Gold Star family members represented in here today. We want to make sure that they are not forgotten, that they are taken care of, and that we do everything we can to just cherish everything that they represent for this country. Okay, so with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the next President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please sit down. Nice hotel. Under budget and ahead of schedule. Isn't that nice? Now, it is a great honor. This is our brand new ballroom, and you only see a small piece of it because we have it broken down. But this is, the hotel is completed. We'll be having our opening ceremony in October, and it's going to be something very special. It's such an honor to have our first event. This is our first event. And it's such an honor to have our first event for Medal of Honor winners. I mean, they are the finest. And to get so many endorsements from the Medal of Honor winners is incredible. And I look forward to spending a lot of time. Come here. They have a lot more courage than I do, I will say that all the time. But it is such an honor to have this particular ceremony be the first ceremony, because I think when the hotel opens officially, it will be one of the great hotels anywhere in the world. And I want to thank the GSA General Services. They have been spectacular. These are spectacular people. These are tremendously talented people. All of the workers, all of the construction folks, all of the managers, the hotel staff, amazing, amazing how good our country can do when we want to do it. But we have put in tremendous amounts of work and energy and money, and I really believe, I said this will be the best hotel in Washington. I think it may be one of the great hotels anywhere in the world. That's the way it turned out. So really honored to have this as our first event. So I'm pleased to be here this morning with 2 Medal of Honor recipients and a 6 flags, okay? 6 flag and general officers. We have a tremendous amount of talent here, a lot of generals, and General Kellogg, General Flynn. We have just, the room is stacked with generals and talented people and leaders. I love leaders. The great people represent 120 flag and general officer endorsements. 120. And that number is going up very rapidly. And now 17 Medal of Honor recipients. In addition, that's a tremendous amount of very, very brave people. In addition, I'm honored to be joined by the many veterans that are supporting us all throughout the room. Thank you very much for being here. I'm also honored to have a Gold Star wife, Jane Horton, here. And Jane is with us this morning. Jane, where is Jane? Please stand. Thank you, Jane. Thank you. Incredible. Jane lost her husband, Specialist Chris Horton, in Afghanistan on September 9th, 2011. And Jane, it's such an honor to have you here. And I hear so many things about Chris, and he was a winner. And thank you very much on behalf of the country. Thank you. It's incredibly humbling to be in the company of these real and true heroes. I have the privilege to introduce our first Medal of Honor recipient, Mike Thornton. Mike is a retired United States Navy SEAL, a tough cookie, and a recipient of the United States military's highest decoration, the Medal of Honor, for his actions in Vietnam, the Vietnam War. In addition, he is the recipient of a Silver Star, 3 Bronze Stars, and a Purple Heart. I'm proud to have him on my team. It's such a great honor for me. And also fellow recipient Bob Patterson, who likewise has the Medal of Honor, who is also here. We have 17 Medal of Honor recipients, and they've all endorsed me for President of the United States. And I have been endorsed by generals, and many of the generals have become very good friends of mine. We seem to have a very good chemistry together. But even the generals admit there is something very special about Medal of Honor recipients. So, Mike, if I might ask you to just say hello, come up, say a couple of words, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa, stop. We don't need no more of that. This is all about getting the word out there. I have known Mr. Trump since 1986, and when it wasn't fashionable to support the military in 1986, some great people like Donald Trump and Zach Fisher, and then we brought the USS Intrepid there, and he supported us back in that period of time. You know, ladies and gentlemen, the medal I wear so proudly around my neck, I do not deserve the medal, never will feel I deserve the medal, but it belongs to every man and woman who's ever served our great nation of America. Because, ladies and gentlemen, freedom is not free. Right now, today is the most trying time in my life, which life is very short, but I've been around for almost 70 years. But you know, this election means so much. We do not need any more bureaucratic leadership from Washington, D.C. We need true leadership from the top. Mr. Trump has never failed in anything because he listens to his advisors, he listens to his people. For the last 8 years, our president hasn't listened to anybody, and that's the reason why we've lost CIA directors, we've lost Secretary of Defense, and many, many general officers have dropped out or resigned because of his leadership. We cannot stand for 4 more years of leadership like that. We need somebody who's going to lead from the front like Donald Trump. So thank you very much for having us here. God bless you, God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump. I'm supposed to introduce Bob Patterson, my good friend for 45 years.
Just like the Navy, can't admit the Army's better. I'm here to tell you something right now. I spent 26 years of my life defending this country. And after that, I spent another 17 years those veterans who I served with and were still serving, because I worked for 17 years for the VA before I finally retired. I've watched our country take a complete turnaround from where it was. We used to be the shining star on the hill. And we're getting dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. And it's all because of all the bureaucrats here in Washington, D.C. And it's time we send somebody to Washington that knows how to say, "You're fired." The gentleman I'm going to introduce is the Major General Zapanta. He is the CEO and President of the United States Mexican Chamber of Commerce based here in Washington, D.C. He's held service, served on many commissions under Presidents Nixon, Ford, Reagan, and both the Bushes. General Zapata entered the military in 1964. And he has numerous awards and decorations, including Silver Star, 5 Bronze Stars with V for Valor and the Purple Heart. Major General.
What Bob just did to me, he made me older than anybody up here. Mr. Trump, thank God for you and your leadership. We're going to win this. You know, being a Vietnam veteran and serving all the way through the Iraq and Afghanistan war in the Department of Defense as the chairman of the Reserve Forces Policy Board, where half of the military that we deployed to that region 15 years ago, and we're still there, were National Guard and reservists. And when they came home, they couldn't use the VA because they were not veterans, because they were still part of their Reserve and National Guard unit. I know the next President of the United States, Donald Trump, will fix that. I also would like to say, you know, deplorables are also deployables. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for me to be here in supporting the next President of the United States who will lead from the front, who has the kind of leadership that we need, is not afraid to make that decision. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really honored to be with Donald Trump, and I'm all with you. I got to introduce you. I actually probably did this on purpose because this next fellow is really a personal friend and I have immense respect for him. He won his Silver Star in Korea when the North Koreans tried to take over our location there on the DMZ. So he's a very special warrior. He is a Major General. It's my honor to introduce you to Major General Bert Mississauga.
Thank you, Al, and we do go way back. But I don't really go back to the Korean War, but that's indeed where I was awarded the Silver Star. After 40 years of serving this nation in uniform and 4 combat deployments, I've become convinced that our nation needs a multidisciplinary interagency approach to defeat our enemies and to secure the long-term fruits of victory. In essence, what we need is some fresh thinking, innovative approaches, and strong leadership. It's been my privilege to have spent some quality time with Mr. Trump on and off the campaign trail over the past few months. And I have been extremely impressed with this gentleman's stamina. And if any of you were privy to his schedule, you would be totally amazed at what he has been able to do. In addition to his stamina, I've been very impressed with his intellectual curiosity and his raw intelligence and his energy and his enthusiasm and, yes, indeed, his temperament. He's got the right temperament that we need in the White House. But the thing that I've been most impressed with is his absolute love for the men and women in uniform and the support that he's going to give them from the White House. And And I can guarantee you the men and women make overseas and that their families make at home will not be in vain, in addition to the billions of taxpayer dollars that we spend supporting them. And that's why I stand by Mr. Trump to be our next commander-in-chief. Okay, thank you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce a fellow comrade in arms, Admiral Don Loren. He's a Naval Academy graduate from the class of '74. He commanded a guided missile frigate, a destroyer squadron. He was an executive assistant to our naval commander of Naval Forces Europe, and he ended a brilliant career as a deputy director for strategic plans and policy, and he covered Russia, Africa, and NATO. So, my pleasure.
Well, thank you, everyone. We are a group of national security professionals who dedicated our lives to the security of our nation, as deplorable as we are. Okay? We are not a political group, but we are a national security group that has chosen to support a political candidate. The series of discussions you've all listened to Mr. Trump have deal with national security. National security is not solely about the military. It's comprised of many facets: defense, diplomacy, development, economic security, energy security, border security, cyber security, homeland security. The logical policy presentations that Mr. Trump has delivered over the last few weeks lay out a sound strategic approach to providing the security of the nation and the security of all Americans. These policies comprise a holistic approach to addressing the complex facets of national security in a complex and extremely dangerous international world. Moreover, Mr. Trump combines this multifaceted approach to our security with a pronounced commitment to those in uniform serving our nation today. And in fact, all veterans who have worn the cloth of the nation. And that commitment extends to the families of those who have served. For as all of us in this room know, their sacrifice has been as equally difficult, if not more so, than our own. George Washington said, "The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive veterans of earlier wars were treated and are appreciated by our nation." Mr. Trump has embraced those words of our first president. Mr. Trump has also shown an extreme dedication to those that have shouldered the wounds of battle in the service to our nation, and we have several of those people with us today. And he has committed himself to the words of President Abraham Lincoln, words that are emblazoned in the motto of our Department of Veterans Affairs: to care for him who shall have borne the battle and for his widow and orphan. This is why all of us here are assembled to support Donald Trump for president. We have lived national security for a large part of our lives. We understand how a strong economy, cooperative governance, combined with skilled diplomacy, sound energy policy, sound alliances, and a united American public, all defended by a well-trained, appropriately funded, fully committed, and technologically unsurpassed military, come together to make America strong and make the world a safer place. And finally, all of us on this stage, all of you in the audience who have served, you took an oath. You pledged, sealed with the honor and commitment in your own lives. An oath not solely to our country, not to our flag, not to a chain of command, or not to a commander-in-chief, but an oath to a piece of paper, a piece of parchment upon which is written those ideals in which we believe, those values that define us as a nation, those very virtues that those who have served before us defended with their lives. An oath to defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to that Constitution. To form a more perfect union, to establish justice, to ensure domestic tranquility, to provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare, and to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. That oath is important to all of us here today. That oath remains the cornerstone of our lives long after we have taken off the uniform. That oath is important to Donald Trump. And he, in fact, will take that very same oath on January 20th, 2017. That's why we assembled in this room, along with many other veterans and their military families, all support his candidacy for President of the United States of America. Together, we will all make America great again. Thank every single one of you for your service to our nation, and may God continue to bless our United States of America. It's my pleasure now to introduce Lieutenant General Tom McInerney, a West Point graduate, but we won't hold that against him. Commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army, he then joined the Air Force, completed pilot training, and went on to a long, distinguished military career, including Assistant Vice Chief of Staff, Headquarters, U.S. Air Force. His awards are numerous, including the Distinguished Service Medal, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, Distinguished Flying Cross, Bronze Star, a true good American hero, Tom McInerney.
Thank you, Don. It's very simple. We, all warriors here, are supporting Mr. Trump because he has the only budget, the only economic plan that can rebuild the military. If you elect Hillary Clinton, you're going to get 1% growth. You're going to get 3.5% to 6% growth with this administration because he knows how to take the handcuffs off America's economy. We need that. Make it very clear to the American people there is only one candidate that can rebuild the United States military and make us great again. Now, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, who is on the national security part of Mr. Trump's team. He's doing the transition team for defense and VA affairs. Keith had 2 tours in Vietnam with the 101st Airborne Division and then with Special Forces. He has a very distinguished career, culminating in the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, the All-American Division, and finally finishing up as a J6 in the Joint Staff because the chairman wanted a warrior. Keith is a warrior. God bless you, Mr. Trump, and God bless America. Keith Kellogg.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be on the stage today with these great Americans, 2 Medal of Honor winners, 2 of 17 who in the past week have endorsed Mr. Trump to be our Commander-in-Chief. These are men who know the meaning of courage. They know sacrifice, they know character, and they're with us. And I also want to identify again, as Mr. Trump said earlier, Mrs. Jane Horton, a Gold Star wife of Chris Horton. Chris was a great young sniper, with the 45th Infantry Division, the Thunderbirds of Oklahoma, and God bless you, and God bless what he has done as well. And to be these great veterans behind me who have served our nation so well. You know, we started last week. Just last week, there were 88 who signed. We're over 165 today. These are men and women who've led at all levels of leadership and believe deeply in his temperament, his leadership, his vision, and his guts to be our Commander-in-Chief. For those of you watching, let me tell you a little bit about the people who support him, the people behind me and the people who are not here, and to the millions of Americans who hopefully are watching. These are commanders who fought in Afghanistan. They fought in Iraq. They fought in Mogadishu. They fought in Panama. We have leaders who've been wounded fighting for this nation. We have leaders who hunted down Saddam Hussein. And one of the commanders we have on our team hunted down and killed Pablo Escobar, the Colombian drug lord. We are in the middle of a change election. It's really quite simple. To those of you here today, to those of you listening out there, and to those of you watching, if you want to keep the status quo with all its failures and promises of more of the same, then you know where you can go. Or if you want to move forward with courage, be what we can be, what we should be, and what we will be, then you will elect Donald Trump to be President of the United States of America. To those of you watching, join with us on this stage. Join those millions who've already stood with us in the past months to carry this man and with him our nation to victory on 8 November. God bless you and thank you.
Okay, without further ado, the person that you're here to see and here to listen to, the next President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Please sit down. Thank you. This is such an amazing honor. And the difference is we want to all get back to work, whether it's building our military or building our country. We have to get back to work. We have a lot of work to do. We've been very much left behind. Speaking with the admirals and the generals and all of the military people, we talk about the word depletion. The military has been so badly treated in terms of its equipment and the money being spent. And this is a time where we need our military perhaps more than ever. When you look at the number of ships, you look at the number of military personnel, you look at the numbers are setting records for all-time lows. We can't have that. There's a world out there, and it's not nice to say, but there are a lot of very, very evil people heading up some potentially very strong countries. We have to be prepared. We have to keep our country so great and so strong. And that's why to have all of the support from so many generals, so many admirals, people I respect so much. They're smart, they're tough, they know what's happening. And I believe in them totally, and that's why the fact that they believe in me is one of the great honors of my life. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you. Now, not to mention her in the same breath, but Hillary Clinton and her campaign of 2008 started the birther controversy. I finished it. You know what I mean. President Barack Obama was born in the United States, period. Now we all want to get back to making America strong and great again. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you.
Hey, very briefly, I just want to say what the big themes that have come out today. So what you heard today, first, we want to deeply thank all of our military men and women who continue to serve this great country. If being a deplorable and wanting our country to be great again, then I'm a deplorable. But those individuals who serve our military, the men and women, the veterans, the families who stand behind all those sacrifices, they are not deplorable Americans, they are great Americans. One word came out today in the theme of what you just witnessed. One word came out is leadership. We need leadership desperately in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here today. God bless this country. Let's make America great again. Thank you.